So currently I'm using blogs, and I'm using a way of retrieving and getting blogs that I think is very useful for SEO and traffic. So I don't think of blogs as an engagement tactic. I think of it as an SEO tactic. Do I think someone's going to read the blog? Not really. I think they might, if they're like searching for a certain topic, a certain question, then they might read the first couple paragraphs and be like, oh, I want to go check out this company. I want to learn more. I don't think that I have people sitting there with their popcorn like, what's she going to write next? That's not happening. I don't think that's happening for my clients. What I want, I think of blog as validation marketing and as traffic generation for SEO. So validation is someone is searching for you and they just want to feel confident that you know your stuff and you're real and you're legit. They might peruse a couple blogs and be like, yes, they clearly are in this industry. They know it, they care. Check. They're not getting in the weeds. So that's not for views. That's just for like them to come gut check and feel good about you when they're dating you. But then the main reason I want to do it is because nowadays with AI, that is what's helping to push traffic to people. Someone goes into ChatGPT and asks a question, and if you've got a lot of content answering that question, then it's going to point to you, which we want. And sure enough, I have a couple of clients who we've started doing that for, and now all of a sudden their number 3 source of leads is ChatGPT because we've been doing a good job of answering questions that we think their homeowners are asking, right? So that's the vibe. So there's what I blog about, and there's how I get to blogs. And I want to hear both from you. But so really quick, the how I get to blogs, one of the most valuable assets of any company is the thought leadership of the leader. But that leader is doing 18 million things. So getting them to write something, getting them to sit down and answer questions, getting them to do any of that is really hard. So the way I make it easy is actually this system right here. So we do long form content together. I sit and informally ask them 5 questions related to whatever the topic is, and I record them. And I might, ooh, interesting, tell me more about this and tell me more about that and whatever, right? And then I get AI to take the transcript and to propose and help create the blog. And it's not the whole blog, it's the structure of the blog, the what are we thinking, whatever. And then I'll say, this feels a little light here, give me a little meat here, and it'll help me come up with, I have a system now where it comes up with prompts for more detail I might want. So then I do a round 2 with my owner, whoever they are, and we fuel it with these extra questions, and then by the end of that, we have a blog that we like. Now, at the same time, I'm training the GPT every time we write a blog. So I've already trained it on their voice, but then I'm also helping over time, every time we write a blog, if there were, or any kind of content, if there were major edits that were technical in nature or tone and vibe, I would never say it that way. I'm capturing all of that, doing the edit on the blog, but also creating a GPT configuration document that I keep updated for that client. For example, I have one client that's a highly technical client in the building science space. It's a product that's highly technical. So I now have 20 line items of highly technical details that I have saved so that anytime they talk about X, it can reference that and know what they're talking about and get the detail right. And sure enough, we've now done like 8 blog posts together, and the number of edits coming from this client has dropped down to a tiny number versus the very beginning. The reason I do it this way is I can batch it. So I will have, for every one of my owners, my clients who's an owner, I have a once every other week recording session where I ask them content questions, things to help fuel a blog post or whatever. And then I come back to them out of that with, let's just say 4 blog posts plus this many social media posts plus this many FAQs, whatever it is. I send it to them and then they edit it and we maybe edit it together and then we're done and it's batched. And so getting in that rhythm, which Megan taught me because that's how she had done it at her old company. And I'm finding it works really well on 2 fronts. Number 1, I get the content I need, great. And number 2, who doesn't love talking about themselves or sharing their knowledge or their expertise? So it creates warm, fuzzy vibes for my owners, which is also good. There's human psychology at play there. So you also have a blog. Talk about your strategy, how you're using it, all of that.
Okay, first of all, I'm like, that is really smart and I should do more of that. So for us, same, blog content is to get traffic over to our website. It's not necessarily to read all of them. However, our blog did start off as more tutorial inspiration around the home construction side of things, and now it has shifted more to the trust factor. So getting people over, I'm doing different tactics to get ranked for AI and to get ranked in search engines for really simple keywords such as like subway tile. And I am adding video content in, but after the fact of writing it, a lot of what I'm stemming blog content around is creating, and I've been blogging for over 10 years now. We started our blog in 2012, and so we have a lot of content. And so I'm just taking a lot of old content and repurposing and recycling it and maybe merging some together, but really if you will, trying to treat it more as like Q&As have been around for a long time. And even right now, people are saying like it's this new SEO thing to have a Q&A, not just on one static page of your website, but then build out a funnel through landing pages and blog posts and different things like that, video content creation. But the more I started thinking about that is I have a lot of content that is asking questions. Like one of our top performing pieces of content is why contractors utilize a 30% markup on their projects and why they deserve it and where that money goes. So then I just started thinking about questions that we're constantly answering clients and explaining to clients so that we can use it as a resource to send via email. We can have it linked in our handbook. And then on top of that, it gets pulled in because people are looking for that all the time and there's no resources on it, on what that markup is. They think it's just profit when little did they know that it's for insurance and to keep the overhead and to actually stay profitable as a company. And a lot of times that profit margin dwindles real fast into the negatives. And now we're able to educate on that. And even when clients ask that question, we'll send the blog post. And actually, we do have a YouTube video to go along with it that's in there. But they'll be like, oh my gosh, that explains so much. Versus if we had to re-explain it every time.
Is a 2-for-1. You're getting the blog post for the traffic and all that, but you're also building out assets to help your nurture journey with your clients as well, and their experience. And so these two things all at once, which is wonderful. Yep.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, it's like those are emotional things that we could potentially get asked at the wrong time. So we could answer it with a very emotional answer. And so it's just good to have that content on our website. And then we do a lot of pricing guides. So we explain why a sport court edition costs so much. And we laid out our personal home, wrote line by line of what the costs were. Other top ones are like, how much does a bathroom remodel cost, kitchen remodel? And so we're just trying to do a lot of resource Q&A, educational, so that yes, they can find us, but it also cuts back on the explaining and the funnel time with our clients. So that's our strategy behind blog posts.
Nice. Megan, what you got? And definitely also, you have a lot of expertise on how to make the blog functionally work too.
Oh,
yeah. I think going back to what you said too, like the structure of it, I think what we're moving towards, at least for like IMW and like what I do with other clients, is I like calling them campaigns. And I think for any clients, it's really good to educate them so that if someday they do move on, they might not stay forever. It's like that idea of you have this campaign and that is your pillar piece for a time period, and you're building other supporting assets around it. And that's for search, but it's also, I think it builds really good structure, especially if someone doesn't have a marketer in-house, like it's just them doing it themselves. I think it's a really good educational check. Okay, this is something I'm focusing on. What's all the things I can talk about around it? And then it becomes just like a part of the routine, and every 8 weeks is what we're doing, but every quarter you could focus on something, and it's really predictable for your audience as well.
So by consolidating what you're focusing on, it almost makes it easier for your brain to do it, I think.
It's also a tool I use to manage founders' expectations. This is our campaign for the quarter. If you want me to do anything else that is not a part of this campaign, we need more resourcing. So keeping you focused, like you're brainstorming within a campaign, the tools. It's a little manipulative.
But it also creates booking. Having a project start and finish, right? What we were just talking about when we look at it. If it always feels like it's a never-ending task that never ends, which social media is, you just feel like, when do I ever get a break? But if you're like, okay, the next campaign is this. Here's the 18 things I want to do in this campaign. This is my formula for every campaign. Check, check. Oh, like that's nice.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that a lot. And different, you even saying that, Megan, too, I'm like, different people, like we just had someone on our team too say, oh, I'm getting burnt out doing this, what you said, Charlotte, never ending task. And I'm like, even maybe pivoting it towards a campaign and talking about different things. Because they were like, once I get done with the blog post, then all of a sudden I have to start another one. And this is just going to be the cycle. And now I'm like, oh, it could be like a campaign of, hey, each quarter, focus on a different topic. So it doesn't feel like you're just doing one after the other. It's more, hey, I'm going to do 4, focused on this, and now I'm going to pivot to a new topic.
Well, and build in time so that you can relink to it. And then we just wrapped up this topic. If you didn't see it, like here's the link. The team can share it, get more traffic towards it before you roll right into the next one. Because everyone's just putting out so much content. But if it's like these smaller campaigns that are really high quality, like less is more, and it's wow, that is so good. It's like the high production value.
And then the other thing, if you can, so at Sashko we tried very hard to create, and in Goody too, my last brand, create seasonally appropriate campaigns. So it's obviously the hair accessories you wear in the winter versus what you wear in the summer, that can change. You're wearing warm ear warmers and whatever, all that. Same thing with Sashko, we had a seasonal approach of, we knew that there were people who were going to be Googling about, let's just say, weatherizing their house in the fall because your winter is coming and blah, blah, blah. And so we would lean into that more in the fall or in late summer ahead of that, because that's when people are Googling and thinking about these things, right? So within marketing, it's not quite as seasonal, but like, for example, Megan, we probably want to talk budget and what they should be spending on marketing right now. We missed that boat this year, but maybe next year that's what we talk about in, I don't know, September, October, so that if they're Googling and thinking about their budget for the next year, that's a pipe dream, because nobody is on the building side anyway is thinking about budgets that far ahead unless I'm on there telling them to. But point is,
Yeah, I don't think you missed it yet. Like, annual planning is a really easy topic for December, and then people in January are still scrambling. So yeah.
Know what else would
or
be a
like
good
back
one?
to school. I used to work in the writing industry, heavy tie into back to school, so of course that was flown in. But you
Right.
could think about the seasonal nature of, like for you, flowers and patio and all of that could be February,
Right.
March, that kind of thing.
Or holiday storage, that's a big one, like post
Holiday
holidays,
storage
like
right now,
so
yeah.
January, February, March. Yeah, organizing, storage, all that. That's one of our top ones.
Yeah, I see that trending right now. You've probably seen the video all over social media. The people that install the lifts into their attics for their Christmas decor. Have you
Oh,
seen
I've
that?
not seen it. No.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Or I
mean,
see people who they roll the tree in, but I'm like, but I like decorating the tree. Like we do it as a family.
no, not roll the tree in. A full-on
I
lift,
know, I've seen the lift too. Yeah,
6 tubs, pull it down, it drops into the garage.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I need one of those. I hardly even have like storage area. We have a shop, and my husband, like, even that, he doesn't want to store things in our storage shop because he's a storage shop. I'm like, you got rid of all your tools. Like, you hardly have tools in here. Like, this can be for Christmas storage. Oh my gosh, that is good.
All right, technically for the blog, tips and tricks for, so we talked about what the blog could be about, how to link it to what you have going on, your content pillars, etc. Then there's the like how to make it work harder. So I at IMW have a huge focus on collaboration as part of social media. So part of what got Sashko where it was because we made friends with people that had big following and were able to piggyback off of them. So as a brand that was adjacent to so many other brands, Anderson, Huber, Rockwell, etc. Our product played nice with them, didn't compete. So we were constantly drumming up fun together. And so now with my current clients, I'm trying to do the same thing where I'm like, if y'all don't compete, you're not in the same region, but you both have a point of view on a certain topic, how do I get you in a room together, record you, create a joint blog? And then that way, that same blog, we can backlink to each other. We can also do posts where we tease and point traffic to the blog on Instagram, whatever, and have you guys collab that. And then on top of that, let's have a real party. If you're two builders and you're talking about this one air sealing detail and there's a product that you're using to achieve this detail, let's tag that brand and see if they will help collab and whatever. So for me, one of the most important things in this element of marketing is after I write the blog or even before I write the blog, I think about who I want to collaborate it with and I call them, like you, and I say, let's talk about this, because then when we write the blog, it's co-written by all of us, and that same view, you get two things. You get more eyes on it, but you also get validation. They co-wrote this with someone else, like they must know their stuff, or this vibe of she's everywhere and she knows everybody helps you with validation, right? So that is my horse, or what's the word you were stand on? My mountain I will stand on?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the
But I know
word
what
for
you're
that?
The hill you will die
The
on.
hill I will die on. Yes, that.
The horse I will what?
I will ride a
I knew
horse.
what you were talking about. I was like, is it the horse riding on a hill?
Oh no.
But at any rate, that's the thing for me, is how can I collaborate it with other people? So what about you guys? What are the things you always want to include in a blog?
I would say in a way, I'm thinking about that, but I'm thinking more internal and back links, so internal linking and backlinking, which are good for SEO. But I will at any time be pulling in resources from other people's websites and linking to them and crediting them. Again, just like a guide situation, or one is cabinets are really simple topic to write about, and I think that's one that we need to talk about more, because there's people just think they can pick a cabinet maker and it's good and done, when really it's like that's a huge bulk of the money that you're spending on, say, a kitchen remodel or something like that. And they'll just go for the lowest bid. And then, so I recently wrote an article about this, just talking about the different custom versus prefab, and then also talking about the different panel styles, shaker, talking about inset versus full overlay versus partial overlay versus Euro style now is just hot. It's been hot for a while, but more people are catching on. And so just all these differences that go into it. And then we haven't done all the things. So then I'm pulling in, again, being in the same rooms as different people, but a lot of ladies from Build Her, I'm going to their website, their portfolio, pulling over, linking to it, talking about why their craft stands out more than other people's in the industry. And then really once it's said and done and it goes live, I'm always hoping that they'll see it because I'll push it on social. But I should, to your point, Charlotte, do a way better job at saying, hey, I just wrote this article, you guys should share it, or maybe getting a quote or something from them. I'm usually too much in a hurry, so I'm just like finding the information, putting it together. But yeah, I like what you said on the collaboration, but I am trying to, because one, the more resources you're sharing from other people, it's community over competition, but also it's really helps for backlinking. So you don't want it all to be just your content to get that good Google juice flowing on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that you haven't said explicitly, but that you've just described to me on 2 different blog posts, is that you're getting very specific with details and examples. So it sounds to me like you're not just saying, here's a strategy. You just listed out all this detail behind cabinetry that you're educating on. And on the one about finances, you listed out a whole wealth of detail that you were getting into. So to me, it sounds like one of the strategies that you are working through is giving really meaty information and looking at it as a full and complete educational piece.
Yes, 100%, because as just homeowners don't know nearly enough, and so there's a lot of educating in the pre-con of any project. It doesn't matter what size it is. And so I'm just really trying to cut back on that noise and cut back on us having to do this redundancy that is quite literally burns a lot of contractors out. So I am trying to give as much detail as I can so that we can send these articles to homeowners when they have all these questions, so that we don't have to be continuously, because in a way it's like we're just continuously selling our value, which I know that's a part of the job. But it gets really hard when you're also like in the thick of working on projects and construction, and then at the same time you have to simultaneously be like selling your value when you could be mid-project getting like bullied and just chopped down and you're being told that you suck and that you're not doing a good enough job. So it's really hard to show up in those moments and sell yourself. So be able to create resources that can sell it for you when you're at those low moments is really helpful.
I agree. And again, you just reiterated the fact that it's 2 for 1. It is helping you with your setting expectations and client communication, and it's SEO and traffic. Like, anytime you can get 2 out of 1 activity, the better.
Amen.
Yeah. All right, Megan, what about you for blog best practices?
Yeah, I think like you all said too, like you're getting so much content up. I think the element of coming back to the blog content and re-embedding more social content that plays along with it, especially if you're resharing those articles over and using it, like as you publish stuff throughout the year, going back in, embedding those reels, embedding TikToks, because no one has like that long of an attention span anymore. So if you can capture the same thing that you're saying in the post also in a video, like you're still getting that information across. So I think just constantly refreshing them and going back, like if you are using them, is really important.
I need to go do that. Thank you, Megan. I'm writing that down.
So if you create a short out of a blog because you thought it was useful, are you then embedding that short in the blog as well?
Yeah, I blog as a hobby. I've always had a following, so like outside of business, but that's where I get like search back to my blog because I've had a social following longer. So I just did one about childcare and going to Lifetime, and then I embedded the actual reel that I did because it touches on the same points that it's in the longer write-up. Yeah. And people are searching for like alternative childcare, like both of those things are ranking. And it just, it helps tell the story instead of reading through the steps of my day.
Oh, speaking of ranking, so here, shout out to Energy Circle. They are a media agency that works in this industry, and one of my clients uses them. And I had a bench of ideas for blogs for this client based on recent, by the way, here's tip number 2. If you're not sure what to write about, I tell my clients, every long form interaction you have, give it to me. If it's a video, if it's an interview, it's whatever, record it and give it to me, because then I will use my GPT to come up with ideas for content, right? So once it knows a little bit about you, it'll spit out ideas. Great. So I recently did a round of a ton of client interviews where I was talking to their homeowners. And then the second I have that transcript, I have GPT help me write the testimonial. I have GPT help me write the feedback to the team of what they need to stop doing, what they need to do more of, whatever, soften the language so it's receivable, right? But I also say, what are some blog post ideas coming out of this, right? And it will help me, which is wonderful. So there's that. Always take the long form content and go from there. The other thing, and of course now my brain has forgotten it.
That's good.
Anyways,
Right.
I always have a bench of ideas, always ready to go, just because I take every bit of content my clients do and I feed it in, and I want my clients to always have a bench of ideas because I don't want the excuse to be I couldn't think of what to write. Or what to talk about, or what to do, whatever. Yeah. So there's that.
Also,
That's what
I
I
think
was
it's important if you have a bench, you could start with the topic versus it has to be a blog first or it has to be the piece of content first. If you start with a topic for a client and get them thinking how it translates, like how do we want to turn that into something, and then you can repurpose it in all the other ways. But it's like whatever feels most comfortable for them.
So here's where it was going, is knowing which ones on the bench to go after. Because I have a bench, two things. Number one, I have a bench of ideas that I want to talk to Morgan about, and all of a sudden my brain started percolating on campaign ideas for IMW. That came back to how I integrate her, et cetera, go, which is, okay, if I want this campaign idea, Megan and I just sat down and said, here's the 3 people we talk to on each of these. The ones that have a following, that have a point of view, that have expertise, that we want to bring in to help us on this campaign. So there's that, having that ready to go. Energy circle, back to them. So I had this list for this client ready to go, and I was sending them blog posts that they were posting and doing SEO and doing a paid media boost behind. And so he has this folder that he has access to where I keep all their blogs. He proactively looked at the list of ideas I had, ran an SEO keyword search optimization analysis against them, and said, Charlotte, these 4 are going to play the nicest with our SEO. Can you make sure and prioritize these? And I was like, yeah, awesome, thank you. And so I'm proactively going into the content generation process knowing that this content is going to help me deliver on this keyword over here. And so that helps me not only know which ones to prioritize, but also what to talk about in there a little bit to make sure it's easier to integrate that SEO.
Wow.
Yeah,
Genius.
he's really good. I'm really happy with that company, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.